Welcome viewers to Chase race number 3, second last race in the NAVSCAR Pro Series. Sorry about that delayed start there. The race is already underway. We got lap 18 of 100 turning right now. I am joined in the booth tonight with Jamie Christensen, who is actually in a car tonight as well. Because of that delayed start, he decided he was going to take the opportunity to put down some laps. So we'll watch him tonight. He'll comment as well as we go. But let's run down the order quickly here as the guys are turning 18 laps. No cautions yet or anything so far. Looks like first place we got the 922 of Nelson Rivera, followed by Calvin Allison. Some good hard racing going on, in that second group there. We got Jeff Haney, Nate LaFleur, William Long, and James Skeleton putting on a good show here.
Yeah, Mike, the drivers out here, they're doing a real good job, getting around the track. It's going to be going to prove to be interesting this evening, though. We got a lot of guys that they get in that draft, and that car just wants it's going obviously faster than it was, as they were going around the track by themselves. So it makes it a little bit more interesting.
Looks like we got a car in the wall. 911 William Long bounced off the wall there, as we got some cars coming into pit as well. Maybe a little bit of communication issues there as cars were coming in. He probably went out to avoid there. This will be the first set of green flag pit stops, lap 20. About a 20 lap window here, so it should make for an interesting fuel strategy if these guys start paying attention on what's going on. They might be able to pull some fuel mileage games here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do, Mike. It's one of those things, too, where this track really eats up the tires, and you got to really conserve them.
Yeah, guys are saying in practice that the cars did feel a little tight, and when you really laid down those laps, you could definitely work through those tires. So these guys are probably going to take 4 tires here. Maybe we see some 2-tire takers, but these guys definitely want some fresh rubber.
Yeah, and I think, it's one of those things that pit road is actually catching a lot of guys off guard, that transition from going that fast down to about 55 miles an hour here on pit road. It can be costly.
Yeah, you don't want to be picking up a speeding penalty this early in the race, that's for sure. But looks like everybody gets in and off smoothly here as we get, I think everybody now is cycled through. We still got a couple cars that have not yet pit.
Well, they got to be close, like you said. It's about a 20-lap run there. And just coming in there, I only had about a half tank, so. But some of them were involved in incidents a little bit earlier on, so they might have a little extra fuel in there before they have to come in.
Sorry, was there a caution early in the race that I missed?
No, there wasn't a caution. It was just, guys, getting into each other. You got a car underneath you or above you, and we had a little side swiping going on, so I think that may have caused a couple of cars to come in just a little bit earlier than expected.
So we didn't talk about picks really early because we had that technical issue, but I picked first this week, so I'm going to pick James Skelton. Jamie, since you're in a car, man, I think you got to go with yourself again, don't you?
Ooh, I don't know. I actually had a black flag there for speeding down pit road, so I'm not sure I guess I'll...
Oh, we got a caution out. Let's see what brought out that caution. Looks like the 82 of Mike Abbott was definitely involved here. I didn't see what happened. Let's see if we can take a look at this replay. He's got the 2 of Joshua Buckley behind him. Oh, the rear of that car is really bumped in. There was definitely some contact earlier on. And it looks like that damage probably hurt his downforce on that rear end. He did get loose and just lost that car. Was able to keep it off the wall, keep it off any other cars. and got it moving forward again, but it did bring out the caution.
Yeah, it's tough. Some of these guys are running triple monitors. Some of these guys are running just a single monitor, and this is a really wide track. You can run 2, 3 wide here, and you gotta be aware of your surroundings. And if the spotter isn't telling you where they're at in a timely manner, it definitely can cause issues.
So, Jamie, since I'm not going to make you pick yourself, so who did you want to pick this week?
I'll go ahead and pick myself. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it'd be fair to call somebody else. I think I'll do what I did last week, and I'll just pick myself. So I guess that leaves Dustin. I think he got a pick in, didn't he?
He did. He picked the 82 of Mike Abbott, and unfortunately, that was Mike's first incident. So hopefully he can get it back on the track, get the car worked out, and we'll see him at the end of the race. Just make sure you stay away from James Skelton for me, would you?
I will do my best. I can't guarantee that I will.
All right, looks like everyone is coming in. Gonna get some fresh tires here before we go back to green.
Yeah, pit road's real busy right now, Mike. But points have got to be on everybody's mind tonight, being the third race in the chase. I think it's it's one of those things that you gotta have a good race. And I know Mike's not in the chase. Mike Abbott's not in the chase right now, but that's got to be weighing on his mind. He's trying to wrap up the season on a good note, trying to get a good finish going into next season. So everybody's trying to bring their A game.
Yeah, just taking a look at that chase grid right now, John Fershing, he's got a pretty comfortable lead, 16 points over his son Nate LaFleur. James Skelton is in third, 18 points behind, tied with Keith Haney. Nelson Rivera is behind him, 19 points behind, and Brian Wynn 22 points behind. So, the winner here is taking 40 points, just over 40 points home. And if there's 20 cars, that means there could be a 20-point spread between the winner and the loser. So, John's going to want to have a good finish here right now, sitting in 10th, but definitely still, I would say about the top 4 drivers have a chase, top 5 drivers have a chance at a chase championship here. We'll see how it goes next week in Homestead.
Well, that's where it all comes down at Homestead, and the tension's not only high here, but it's going to be even more so next week. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot to look forward to come next week. Did Abbott have to get towed?
No, he got it pointed forward. He's currently, I think, behind you. But okay. I am showing it. Yeah, he is in your rear view mirror right now, buddy.
Oh, there he is. Sure enough. Yeah, it's unfortunate. He's got to use that quick repair. We've only got one tonight, so you got to be really mindful of what you're getting into. And these restarts are just going to be just as interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure. Restarts here can be hairy. The cars like to bunch up, and when you get the cars close together, that aero push, the turbulence you get from the car in front of you could really throw you off. And the cars do tend to spread out as we go on, but restarts always make it interesting.
Yeah, you really hit the nail on the head there. I mean, talking about them bunching up, I started in the back here, and just going into one, I mean, you're not even halfway into the gas. It's real interesting getting into one here on the restarts.
Yeah, I think we'll take the opportunity to ride on board with. We'll pick a driver in the top 5, top 10, and we'll see what they experience as we get through a restart here.
Yeah, I think they're going to be okay, though. To be quite honest with you, it's kind of that accordion effect. The guys in the front, they've got the best opportunity to just keep their foot in the pedal and keep going. It's these guys in the middle and towards the back here that are really having to check up. I also think it's going to be interesting to see what that 82 does.
Yeah, he's going to be want to get moving to the front there. You know, he's strong here as long as he can keep this car clean. He's already got some right side damage on it, so I'm not sure if that was after pitting or what, or if he didn't use a quick repair, but the right side of the car looks pretty scratched up already, so we'll see how he goes.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at his spoiler. It's bent a little bit, so he might have done, just some repairs there and on pit road, but and saving. Maybe he thinks there's another one coming. So.
All right, these guys are going to start bunching up as we come off turn 4 here. They're going to take the green. Already some collisions going on here. The inside lane are really accordioning there behind the 911.
Yeah, I'm not really sure that happened right in front of me, Mike, as you were talking about it. I'm not really sure what happened there.
A lot of cars on the inside lane now with front and rear damage. We'll see how this goes. And you can see the 81's got a lot of damage on that front end. That car almost stepped out on him, but he was able to keep it pointed straight.
Yeah, and that always makes it interesting because you know when you got damage on the car, it affects you mentally. You know you're driving a damaged car, and it's more frustrating than it is anything. Plus, he's got a bunch of traffic around him right now, and that's just adding to the tension.
First 10 or so cars have gotten sorted out, single file there. They're going to see if they can put a little bit of gap on those damaged cars. I'm sure that everyone who had a little bit of damage during that caution is probably a little upset about that restart.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they're too happy about it, Mike. It's one thing to get in a wreck and do it to yourself. It's another one you're the victim of circumstance. So, yeah, definitely frustrating. A lot of good racing out here, though, Mike.
Yeah, I love watching this track. I like Michigan as well. I think it's a very high-speed track, but it allows for a lot of maneuverability. You get cars bunch up, and they can run really hard around each other. Lots of lanes here. The track's super wide, so definitely gives everybody the opportunity to move around.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, it's one of those things where there's so many different lanes, and if you've got them going, as we're going into one here, almost 3 wide, there's it's kind of like pick where you want to go.
Just want to remind our viewers that the 88 here is doing double duty. He's announcing while racing. It's pretty good that he's been able to run side by side right now with the 555 of Busch Fraser. Fun to watch, man.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting there. I got into Jeff as he checked up in the turn 1 there a little bit quicker than I thought he was going to. Just give him a little tap there, but that's that close quarter racing that we've been talking about, and it's one of those things. You talked about it, the cars being spread out, but when they're bunched up, it's you've got cars on the inside, outside, in front of you, and then just throwing the guy behind you because you guys are all running different lanes. It's definitely interesting to try to keep track of it all.
Right now watching the 13 as he's going to look inside of the 8 of Cowboy Rogers. Wow, drifting up a little bit there. No space in between those two cars, but looks like they're going to keep it together as the 13 of Jonas Hankins is going to go low, but not quite onto the apron there. Going to try and make that pass work going into turn 1 here. It looks like he's able to do it.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, you utilize the draft to set the guy up in front of you because you're carrying more speed going into that corner, just utilizing that draft, and you use it to set him up. But the tricky part of it is that you've got to make it work. because your car is going to push because you're obviously going faster in that corner. So it's definitely a treacherous thing, but it can be done.
Right now we got a pretty good battle going on at front with the 2 car of Joshua Buckley as well as the 86, our leader, of James Skelton. Yeah, you said it. When you get that car, tucked up underneath the car in front of you, it just takes a little bit of downforce off those front tires. And going into the turn, you can definitely push up into the wall. You got to kind of back off the throttle, or you end up, painting the wall on the exit of the turn.
Yeah, I gotta wonder. You got those guys like Calvin Allison and Josh Buckley and Fershon Jr. Those guys are cream of the crop, and they're always doing a little bit something on the pit stops to mix it up. They're going with 2, they're going with 4, they're going fuel only. I don't think we're gonna see anybody go fuel only. I mean, this is a pretty fast track, and I think you're gonna see at least somebody take right sides.
Yeah, I think tires are super important here. Just because of the speeds in the corners, you know what I mean? Like you're scrubbing so hard that right side tires, they do take a lot of wear. So I think you're right. I don't think we'll see guys really play with no tires, but they're definitely gonna be alternating 2 and 4 if they can. As Josh is really just looking really hard around James here. He gets a good run off that back stretch, but just can't set up a corner. And then again, he's got to let off the gas because of the way that the car is. You can hear him playing with the throttle. Both these guys are staying up pretty high on the front stretch. They're not jumping down to the apron like we've seen other cars do. But I think we're 37 laps in here. A lot of time left. These guys are kind of just setting up their own game and thinking about how they're going to finish this race.
Ooh, looks like we got a car real loose here. Got turn 1 and 2. They keep it together though. That was close.
What car number?
I think it was up there by Brent Rogers. They definitely traded some paint, plenty of smoke out on the track. Yeah, I believe it was Rogers in the car in front of him there.
Yeah, 930's drifting a little high. 8 again. He's trying to get on the inside there. Some hard, close quarter racing going on.
Yeah, nobody's going to give you that position. I mean, you gotta. There's plenty of track, and you got to make it work. I mean, nobody's just going to roll over and give you that spot. And looks like they're not done.
Oh, there they go.
Reckon in front of me.
Just a little tap there. You do got some front end damage there. Let's see if we can take a look at a replay and see how that all started.
Yeah, I thought I was going to make it through that one, actually.
Just not a lot of room given there. The 8 comes across the 930. Not sure who's at fault there. But yeah, definitely touched it up.
Well, it's kind of funny, Mike, we're always talking about how short tracks bring out short tempers. I think, some of these speedways, it's kind of frustrating because if you can't get the...
Yeah, it doesn't take much of that speed. We were riding on board there with Daniel Haney. Not a lot of room for him to move up. Definitely, I think maybe Cowboy thought he had a little bit of space there, but clearly there was contact made. Let's see if we can run on board with you, Jamie, and take a look at what you saw.
Yeah, I was hard on the brakes. It should be a good replay.
Going into turn 1 here, you can see that these guys are running pretty hard up ahead. Lots of smoke and sparks. Just a little love tap there, but enough to do some damage on your front end.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. That was actually some pretty significant damage there.
Like seeing the sparks, though. That's an update in the iRacing build this week.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Current leader 13, Jonas Hankins. Second place, 86 of James Skelton. Third place, the 954 of Keith Haney. Fourth place, number 2 of Joshua Buckley. And rounding out the top 5, we got the 922 of Nelson Rivera. One thing I noticed, man, John Fershing Jr. sitting in 13th place. Definitely could see some impact on the points. We'll have to see how he finishes. Still lots to go. We're on lap 40 of 100. 60 more laps, 3 more pit stops. Should be a lot of racing left. Still lots of damage on the LaFleur car. A lot of front end damage there. All these guys are trying to conserve. I think nobody wants to use that quick repair unless they have to.
Yeah, I would agree.
So let's take a look at the schedule real quick. Obviously, you know, to our viewers or anybody else who's wondering, we did not race last week. iRacing was having some issues, so unfortunately we were rained out or delayed a week. So we are running, obviously, tonight Auto Club, which should have been our final race of Homestead. We have delayed Homestead. We'll be running the first week of January, so January 6th, I believe. And we'll finish up our series after the holidays. It's going to take a couple weeks off, make sure everybody has time to enjoy with their families and no commitments there. And we're going to extend that season one more race to get it wrapped up here. Should be a good race at Homestead, and hopefully we get some viewers for that one.
Yeah, there's some discussion right now, I guess, because of that incident. And I think Ricky Goodman in the 4 car got a black flag because of that. They're kind of discussing right now as to, you know, what's the appropriate thing to do here. I'm not really sure.
You're in there. You can make a call. I don't. What was the? He got a black flag for what? Passing? Alright, cars are double filed. They're getting ready to go to a restart. Once again, let's see if we can get these cars lined up. I'm sure people will give each other a little bit more room so we don't have any incidents like we did on the last restart. Alright, pace car's in. And there goes the green flag. Haney down to the shoulder, looking to get a run into turn 1 here. Keith's looking all over the track to make it work. A little bit of contact there between the 2 and the 82, looks like. Sorry, the 86 car.
You know what I always think is interesting is when you get the two cars that were involved in the incident running in front
Yeah,
of each
right.
other on the restart. It always makes things interesting.
Calvin Ellison inside the O2 of Joshua Buckley. Those guys are racing real good together. 86 is looking to make that outside line work here as the 28 kind of gets held up by the 922 of Nelson Rivera. Got a car smoking, a little bit sideways there, but able to collect it. 82 is doing a good job of keeping the 2 kind of tucked up behind the 86. Make sure you can't get a run around them both here.
Yeah, there's a lot of different battles going on right now, and it doesn't really matter where you're at. You're racing somebody.
Yeah, that's the one thing about this speedway, and again Michigan as well, is those restarts, man. They're super fun, and you guys, nobody really kind of pulls away unless you get clean air. But everybody, you know, there's enough speed and enough room here that drafting is a thing. So cars definitely stay together until, you know, you get in line and maybe work on your full line. Right now, Keith Haney has put about a half a second gap on second place as these guys still continue to swap positions from second to sixth. Looks like the number 2 car is falling back a little bit. He's got the 82 running hard underneath him.
Looks like the 82's had a nice recovery, eh?
Yeah, he's back up to 6th place right now, fighting for 5th position with Chris Sharp. Did take that position away right there. '82 definitely using all that track, taking that last opportunity to jump up near the wall as he enters one. Oh, number 2 gets loose. Does collect it. Everybody else goes around. That was a pretty crazy ride for everybody behind him there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he had everybody kind of checking up and messing with the steering wheel, trying to correct not knowing where he was going.
Yeah, and usually we see that car get loose, you know, a turn or two later. He might have used up his tires. Looks like last pit stop he did take 4, but he definitely looks really uncomfortable right now.
Well, absolutely. You know, when the car comes out on you, it makes you question every time you go into that corner as to whether or not it's going to do it again. You know, is it a matter that the tires are, you know, got a bald spot on it, or is it, you know, it's just not handling right? And it's always in the back of your mind.
Almost puts it in the wall there. Good job though. Just trying to give Jeff File a little bit of room there. No contact made. Let's go back up front. These guys now looking like we're running in line almost through the entire pack here. Things have calmed down a bit with 49 of 100 laps complete.
Well, they've definitely calmed down, but you know, I think it all depends on where you're sitting, because there's definitely some banging still going on back there.
Yep, as I said, that the 2 car and Jeff File and William Long, you guys are racing real hard right now for the 10th position. Battle of 4 going on with Cowboy on the outside, just leading the 2 car of Joshua Buckley. I think this is the hardest racing on the track right now.
Yeah, and those cars are pretty evenly matched, you know, so they're definitely giving each other fits.
Yeah, Jeff File looks like he has to check up a little bit, maybe fighting a tight car there, and he kind of holds up the 8 car. They were able to dive low. Looks like they're going to try and make a pass here. Oh, and the 2 cars thinking about getting in the middle, 3 wide. Jeff File does back it off and is able to let these guys race underneath him.
Yeah, but he pays the price, doesn't he? I mean, he falls. He's lost some speed there.
Yeah, for sure. Still racing really hard here for the 9th position as the 2 car looks like he's almost making contact with the 8, but not quite. It's going to open up the door for the 15. He's trying to get around this mess. He definitely doesn't want to get collected if there is an accident, thinking about that points game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it is, don't get me wrong. It's there's good racing out on the track, but at the same time, it's one of those things that, we're halfway through the race, and it's definitely got quite a few laps left. I don't, if I've already been involved in one incident, I'm not really sure I want to use my stuff up this early.
Riding on board right now with the 8 of Brent Rogers. You can see how dirty that windshield is. There's been a lot of smoke and tire debris on that windshield. And as we see here, the 15 just drifts up in front of him. The 2 kind of follows, but there is not a hole there for the 2 car. Looks like he's going to try and enter 3 side by side with the 15.
Yeah, it's definitely a hornet's nest.
Now the 8 car wants that position back as he's going to dive into 1 underneath the 2 car. Oh, those cars are close.
Yeah, and I can't imagine that they're going to have much rubber left on these tires after all this side-by-side racing. I mean, they are putting those cars, to the maximum of what they can do. And the tires can only take so much. And I'm expecting to see some of them fall off here pretty soon.
Yeah, you'll tell these guys will back off a little bit once their cars or their tires start to wear off. The cars will get super loose and they won't be able to turn as hard on exit. So things will probably ease up a little bit. That or we'll bring out a caution. We'll see how it goes.
And we should be getting close to green flag pit stops here. I'm currently showing about 3 gallons left in the tank here, Mike, so it's about the equivalent of about 7 laps.
Now, I think it's important that, when you're leading up to a pit stop that you get as many clean, good runs as you can, because you have an opportunity. Everyone's on dirty stuff. Everyone, might be slowing down a bit. But if you can manage your laps and keep them going, you have an opportunity to make up some time here. Let's check on our leaders as Calvin Allison right now running on the shoulder, trying to get around Nelson Rivera. Did cross the line in first place on that one. See if he can complete the pass. Looks like he will quite easily. One thing I can say about the 28 is he's great at tire management. Knows how to take care of his tires, and usually on those longer stints, he's much quicker than people on the same kind of laps as he is.
Yeah, that was couldn't talk it with you there as Jeff File got into the wall and got into another car. They kept going, but it was definitely pretty close coming out of 4 there.
I guess I'll let that go. If you got to concentrate on racing, that's fine.
All right. Yeah, I was just kind of cruising along, and then all of a sudden, one of the 2 cars just got wide in that corner, and that's what you were talking about. The tires go away, and all of a sudden the car's drifting up faster than what you think it is, and you start having to correct on it.
It's funny because it can really just sneak up on you and not notice it. It's like a light bulb. One lap you're running your normal line, next lap it's just not there, and you really have to dramatically change it. As the 28 pushes that outside wall as well there, and he's going to get passed again by the 922, who's going to take that lap.
Just seen Buckley go off the track in the center of the trioval.
Yeah, he's driving through the grass. See if we can take a look and see what happened there. Watching this replay, looks like, yep, he just hits that wall pretty hard twice. A lot of front end damage. Everyone manages to stay away from him there, but that could have been much worse. I'm sure that car is not looking very good right now, though.
No, but I don't believe he's been involved in any incidents so far this evening that I'm aware of. So maybe he's got that quick repair that he can use.
Unfortunately, that caution did not come out, so it's going to put him a couple laps down here. Cars are going to want to get another couple laps in, and I think we're going to see cars start coming down, but still going to have to do another pit stop after that one. Everyone should be able to make it on 2 stops from this point.
I'm going to bring it in, Mike, and see if I can't get some fresh tires on this car.
Doesn't sound like a bad idea. Calvin Allison back up front. Looks like these top 3 drivers are really just swapping position almost lap after lap here. And I think that has, a lot to do with the draft. And here we go, all 4 leaders right now coming in. First 4 cars on pit road, followed by the 82 and the 81. I did see the commitment cone fly across the track there, so I wonder if somebody's going to get an unsafe entry. Be interesting to see what these guys do here. 28 is in his box. Right side tires there for the 28. Let's see if those left sides go up, and they don't. 28's off with 2 tires. Looks like Nate LaFleur 2. Almost everybody's taking 2 here.
That actually really surprises me, but those guys are always good on 2 tires. They seem to have got that figured out.
Looks like Calvin's definitely leading that first group of drivers. We still got 4 drivers that have not yet pit or are on their way. Actually, they are sitting in their pits right now. So with that, Calvin Allison back to the lead. And looks like he's got a 5-second lead over John Furshing Jr. Really well done pit stop there by Calvin Allison. Next group of cars, we got 3 cars sitting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The John Furshing Jr., Nelson Rivera, and James Skelton right now battling for that 2nd place position. I'm sure these guys are want to, kind of talk to each other and see what they can do to catch that 1st place car. If these guys start fighting each other, that is going to give Calvin an opportunity just to pull away here.
Yeah, and that 2-tire stop has really helped those guys. They're cutting your pit time down on green flag pit stops is going to help them a lot. Let's hope that their tires hold out for them.
Brings up an interesting question though when they come down to our last pit stop of the race. If we go green till the end here, are you going to take 2 again, or are you going to go for 4? And it could make it interesting as we get down to it.
Well, if there's only a few laps left, I think it's definitely worth the gamble to go with 2. I mean, those left sides are probably not what you want them to be, but where you really need that traction is in that right front. So, I think it'd be a smart move. Just take 2 if there's only a couple laps left.
I agree if it's a couple laps, but by my calculations, we're going to have 15, 16 laps to go when these guys come down for their last pit stop. So, could be interesting here.
Well, probably the best guy I've seen on two tires is Calvin Allison. To be quite honest with you, I mean that guy just he does it every week.
Let's take a look at the fastest laps on the track right now. Last lap, Nelson Rivera turned in a 37.880. That was the fastest lap. John Furshing was next. So that top group right now, they are pulling away from the leader, or pulling up to the leader. Sorry.
Yeah, and with that no caution coming out with Buckley hitting the wall, I mean this field is really spread out.
Yeah, and that group of 3 cars, I think they are going to be a little bit faster because they are within drafting distance here. Right now, the top 5 cars on the track do not include Calvin Allison. Oh, that time he was 3rd quickest, so he is still keeping those quick laps.
It's one thing on these corners too, Mike. It's one of those things that you go in there with such a high rate of speed and you're kind of playing with that throttle. You're just waiting for that front end to grip so you can get back into the gas. Some of these guys have been doing that exceptionally well.
Yeah, I think this track is all about, how quick you get back on the gas. More so than it's not as forgiving if you mess an entry up or have to let off on an exit. You really got to kind of get it perfect, and being on the throttle as much as you can, obviously here, is really what's gonna set you apart from everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can actually make up quite a bit of ground on the guy in front of you if you can time those corners right. And you're consistent with them. Some of these guys out here, they're just because of tire wear or what have you, they're pretty consistent for 2 or 3 laps, then the tires change, and then they've got to change it up a little bit. And some guys have a better time of going through that transition and adjusting to what the car is doing. And some take a couple laps just to get into the new rhythm with whatever the car is giving you.
Yeah, those green flag pit stops definitely changed the dynamic of this race. Right now we got cars really spread out. No more than 2 or 3 cars in a group, and there's really not many of those cars, those groups either. So right now guys are just working their own race with 31 laps to go.
And that's kind of what you want right now, to be quite honest with you. I mean, unless you're a little bit further down, you're looking for that yellow flag or something. These guys just want to click these laps off, especially these guys up in front. I mean, if you're in the back, like I said, you want to see a caution. You want to see guys duking it out because there's this hope or belief that you're going to benefit from a result of it as long as you're not in it. So,
yeah, I'll tell you who wants to see this race go to the end without a caution. That's right now is our 2nd place driver, John Furshing Jr., sitting about 5 seconds back as he's looking to kind of navigate around the 555 here. But yeah, he's happy where he is. 2nd place, that's gonna, really help him when it comes to the chase. So he just kind of wants to see this race finish. I think he'd be happy with a top 5, actually, at any position, as he kind of lets Nelson Rivera get around him. Maybe he wants to follow Nelson around the 555 here.
I was going to say, isn't it the 15 you were just talking about a few minutes ago that was duking it out with Roy Rogers and a field of 4 going 4 wide with Buckley?
Yep, he's he's happy in that 3rd place position right now. He's surrounded by Nelson Rivera and James Skelton, but nobody's racing each other really hard here as we got 29 laps to go, and Calvin is still holding steady at a 5.1 second lead.
Yeah, John Furshing Jr. always amazes me. He's like he starts out towards the rear, he's kind of in the middle of the pack, and the next thing you know, 3rd place, looking for top 5 finish or at least a podium finish. I mean, guys impressive in what he can do there. Those guys at the Win or the CRC shop, they really got the car tuned and dialed in, and that just complements what John's doing out there.
And that 555 car, I should mention, Butch Frazier was our Touring Season Series champion this past Sunday here. We were running an open Silver Crown Cup, and yeah, he took home the championship. So congratulations to Butch Frazier on his first Touring Series championship with NAVSCAR.
Yeah, real impressive, you know. And Butch is, you know, we talk about him, you know, every now and then, but Butch has really been improving his game. You know, he's consistently coming up through the ranks, so definitely one to watch.
Just checking in with the 28 of Calvin Ellison's got a little bit of front end damage there. I don't know where if he had that at the start of this run or not, but that gap between second place is closing a little bit. It's down to 4.6 seconds. That last lap, or this one right here, as he crosses the finish line, looks like he ran a 38.914 in second place here. Let's see what they pull off that last lap. A 38.6, so almost 0.3 of a second quicker there, as this gap is starting to really close. Nelson Rivera continuing to close that gap down to 4 seconds here. I wonder if Calvin's just kind of saving those tires. Knows he's got a 5-second gap. Knows he's not really in any hurry. As that last lap, he's even with second place. No gain there. Craig Sykes right now fighting for position with that 5th place finisher, or 5th place racer right now, Mike Abbott. Really close battle going out on the track here, as Sykes is looking on the inside here, see if he can get a good run off the corner. He's able to keep it down on low. Those tires are still sticking for him.
It'll be curious if he lets him go. You know, we got about 1.5 gallons left on the fuel here, Mike. So I think we're getting ready to do another round of pit stops, and I think it comes down to your earlier question. We're going to see these guys go with 2, 4. I mean, what's it going to be?
Yeah, 22 laps to go. You know, especially right now with Nelson Rivera kind of catching that first place car. I don't know, man. I might want 4, but you don't want to give away a. You know, someone's going to take 2. And someone's going to gain 8 seconds. So we'll just see if it holds up, you know, as the race goes on.
I personally think you got to take 4. I mean, assuming that there's no more cautions, you know, and this thing goes green flags. We've seen, you know, when we first started the broadcast, we were at about 20 laps, and so you're going to be real close. I mean, it's going to be a full run here.
Right now, that first place position, he's, you know, 3 seconds down to that to the second place car, and he's just closing the gap. So, you know, I think you're right. I think tires are falling off, but you know, if you're Calvin and you take 4 tires and Nelson behind you takes 2, all of a sudden Nelson's got an 8-second lead on you. Well, maybe 5-second lead on you, but you got fresh tires, and you know, with the rate that Nelson's closing on Calvin, you know, 20 laps to go, they might be able to get it done. So we'll see how this goes. I see sparks. I don't know if we had a car in the wall. I hear a car off the pace. Looks like we're still green though.
I was gonna say, it had me nervous.
Nate LaFleur's car is not looking good. And there comes the leader. He's coming down pit road. He's going to be followed by second, third, fourth, all coming down here. Let's see what these guys do. 20 laps to go, though, man. You're right. It's a full run here.
Yeah, I just can't imagine being out there with 2 tires. I mean, but then again, they just ran 2 tires, didn't they? So,
yep.
You know.
But that's the thing, man. You've got 2 tires that have already worn down. Do you want to run another stint with them? We'll see what happens here. Calvin's pulling into his box. Right sides are up. And left sides go up as well. We do have the 15 of John Frisching Jr. does take 2. It's going to be a quick race off here. So the 15 is going to come out just ahead of the 28. James Skelton looks like he took 2 as well, and he's in front of both of them. James has got a pretty big gap there. Now is what's going to be key here is what kind of laps Calvin Allison can put together with 4 tires. And you know, as much as I think James is a great driver, he is my pick tonight. With a 1.5 second gap to a driver with 4 fresh tires with the caliber of Calvin Allison, man, I think he's going to have his hands full when we get down to it. 18 laps to go.
Well, you know what's going to make this interesting, Mike, is if they get a caution, it's going to really make it a shootout here at the end.
Oh, if we get a caution, the whole thing changes here, so we'll see what happens. But right now, Calvin Allison's reeling him in. He's definitely quicker on those 4 tires. That last lap, a 38.144 for James Skelton, a 37.751, 0.4 of a second difference, down to 0.8 of a second between these 2 cars. They give it about 2 more laps, and these cars will be battling for position, especially when we got lap traffic up here, as James trying to work his way through it. '81 is just coming down. James got to stay low. That's really going to hurt his speed. Calvin might actually get hung up too. Calvin jumps below. That didn't hurt him at all here. The gap is now closed. These guys are going to be racing here for position with 16 laps to go.
Oh, and I think John Frisching Jr. just went off the track.
Oh yeah, he's off the pace. That's not going to be good for him. He's going to want to maintain his pace here and keep as many positions as he can. Sitting in 4th place right now. Mike Abbott in 5th.
Yeah, he was right behind me, and you know, I just seen him veer to the left. I don't know if he got loose coming out of 2 or what.
More than likely, that's probably the case here. Running really hard, trying to keep up with that pack. Right now, 86.2 seconds ahead of the 28. 86 really, he's got to just hold his stuff together. James needs to keep his car, you know, as quick as he can. Hopefully, Calvin burns those tires off, and the cars get closer when it comes to tire wear. But if he lets that 28 by him, I think that 28 is going to pull away here. .28, just a little bit of contact with the wall there. No speed loss, just a nice little rub. Oh, he's right on his bumper. That's going to really upset the 86 here. Trying to keep it down low. The 28's looking trying to get a run here, maybe make something work on the inside, but he does have that lap car kind of Sitting just a couple car lengths ahead of them both. Once again, 28 is all over the bumper of the James Skelton. These guys don't want to see this lap car in front of them. It's going to make it really, really uncomfortable for them here.
Looks like that lap car is just going to get out of the way for him.
Yeah, it stays high, but you know, you got a car on the outside as you're exiting a turn. That's going to make you keep it down here. The 28's going to use that opportunity, try and make the pass along the front stretch. Looks like he does take that that lap. James is looking back on the inside here as we enter turn 3.
You know, normally you would think Calvin's got the preferred line on the outside. He's able to just let the car, you know, keep it a little bit more in the gas. I mean, you know, the car on the bottom's fighting that it pushing up and playing with the throttle a little bit. So, you know, I think that may be one of those times where you'd like to be on the outside there.
I'm impressed on how James was able to keep it low with the 2 tires that he's on there, but once again, 28 has now got about a car gap here as they're going to have to deal with the 4 of Ricky Goodman being a lap down as well in a couple corners. .28 is definitely gapping now. Looks like the tires of the 86 might just be starting to fall off here.
Now, they both went with 2, didn't they?
No, Calvin Allison took 4 tires.
Oh, definitely playing to his advantage right now then.
We're within 10 laps, 9 to go. Calvin is just a little bit quicker than James on that last lap.
You know, and James has got to be searching the track right now, going, how can I get around this guy? How can I get a little bit more speed?
Yeah, riding on board with James right now, you can see how he was smooth back into the throttle, but once he's in the throttle, he's in it all the way. He's following that 28 car, trying to, you know, stay in his tire marks, maybe pick up a little bit of a draft if he can here. Just a little bit of a blip there as the car steps out a tiny bit.
You know, I'm kind of surprised with Dan Haney behind Skelton, you know, that he wouldn't be able to get a little bit more speed going.
Yeah, they've got 2 cars really close together there. You would think they'd be a little bit quicker, but again, if Skelton can't get that car turned down, as we got a car spinning in front of the leader, the 4 car is able to keep it together, though. Good job by Ricky Goodman. Just a little bit of a smoke screen there for the leader, just to make sure he's still awake.
Well, if he wasn't awake, he's awake now.
Looks like Daniel Haney is going to give James just a little bit of running room here. Doesn't want to be held up anymore. He said, "Hey man, I'm quicker. I'm going to get around you guys." And that might even actually work to James' advantage. If Daniel is a little bit quicker, you might be able to use that draft to kind of get up to Calvin. But right now, Calvin's got a full second lead over James.
Yeah, and you can't blame Dan for that either, because, I mean, he's trying to get his lap back, too. I mean, he's got the leader right in front of him.
Yeah, just looking at his time, Daniel was that last lap. He was faster than both first and second on that lap.
You know, the high line really hasn't come into play this evening, other than, you know, Calvin's kind of forcing the cars up to the upper part of the track. You know, we've seen some guys try to find that apron, try to run that low line coming across that start-finish. Calvin forces them up. If you want to follow in the draft, you got to be on that that high line there, as we see Dan Haney into the wall.
Nice job avoiding on that one. Daniel Haney, no caution. He's going to get it turned around. Wow, I think a couple people would have liked to seen a caution on that one.
Yeah, I would agree. And of course, what do you do if there is a caution if you're Calvin Allison? Do you stay out on those old tires, or you coming in? I mean,
yeah, I think a caution for Calvin there kind of seals the deal. I think it takes the win away from him. I don't think he can come in, and then I don't think he can win. So he wants to see it go green the whole way here.
well, even if we had a caution now, I'm pretty sure we're gonna.
You're right. Yeah, we would. The race would be over. One of these days, we're gonna get green-white checkers.
Yeah, that would be nice. Got some cars smoking out here.
Yeah, it's still the 930. Just trying to finish the race, I think.
Well, last lap, white flags out.
Go ahead and ride on board for the final lap with our leader, Calvin Allison, just kind of coasting it around this corner. You can tell that he's way off the gas. I wonder if he's almost out of gas. He's way off the throttle. Yeah, lap times are 2 seconds off. He's shaking it, making sure it's full of gas, but that's going to get him the victory.
Yeah, that was real close there.
First place, Calvin Allison. Second place, we got James Skelton. And rounding out number 3, Nelson Rivera. Let's let Calvin burn it up here. We'll take a quick look one more time at the schedule, and then we'll have him down here for some interviews. Next week, or sorry, 2 weeks from now, January 6th, we're going to be going to Homestead for our final race. We'll have to see how the points fall. Once we get the points updated, we'll go ahead and post those to the website and Facebook so you guys can see where our chase drivers stand. Let's go ahead and get Calvin Allison down here for his post-race interview. It was good to see you run into the 8 there at the end. That brings back some memories.
Well, I was trying to, but I think he got the better. He got me on that one. I was waiting for him. I just couldn't make it happen.
Oh, we also saw Calvin flip it on the hood because of that. Congratulations, buddy, on that win. Was looked like you were almost saving some gas there at the end. Was that true? Calvin, buddy, you got me?
Yes.
Oh.
I forgot I had it on push to talk for 10 speech.
So how'd that race go, man? Tell us about it.
It was fun. I had a lot of fun racing with Nelson and James there and John.
Yeah, 4-tire stop at the end there. It looks like kind of was key for you. I know James only took 2, was able to get out ahead of you. But you got by John Furshing there on that last stop real quick and then used those 4 tires to make sure you got the lead. Looked like for a while, though, that James was gonna have some fight for you, but you were able to pull it off with 12 laps to go.
Yeah, I figured if we got a long green flag run for a change that I would do 2 on the next to last stop just to see, and it freed the car up enough to where I could turn in better. And I didn't see James or Nelson closing any, and I figured if I gapped them enough I could take 4 for the final run if we stayed green, and it worked out perfect.
Looked like a couple laps to go there. I think Keith, one of the Haneys, went around and or no, the 4 car went around right in front of you and filled you full of smoke. Just making sure you were awake there, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what Ricky was doing. He might have been trying to watch a hockey game or something.
I guess you were happy not to see a caution come out. What would have been going through your mind with 6 to go and we had a caution come out?
I'd have probably come in and got 4 tires again. I mean, tires make all the difference in the world.
Jamie, you got any questions, buddy?
Yeah, I would just want to say congratulations on a great race. I was right behind you guys there, and it was really interesting to see you work him over there to get that position. You guys had a little traffic there with Dan Heaney, kind of making it a little bit interesting, but you were able to get around. So just want to tell you, great race, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, guys. This is a big win. Big win.
Yeah, it's definitely going to help you in that chase standings. I don't think it's going to get you close, but it'll definitely move you up. So looking forward to seeing what you can pull next year with the new system. And hey, man, it's been fun watching your race.
Yeah, I appreciate you and Jamie and Aquaman. It's awesome. Not hear you in an aquarium tonight.
And what can I do, man? What can I say? All right, I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
He's always busting my chops, that guy. Let's bring down the 86 of James Skelton. Second place finish, man. It looked like you were going to give him a run for his money there on 2 tires, but looks like 4 tires was the way to go tonight. Tell us about your race. James. Alright, looks like Skelton's not here, so we'll... Oh!
Hey, you got me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Alright.
No, but, yeah, for starting way back in the back, 15th, 16th, or 17th, I had a terrible qualifying lap to work my way up all through the field and keep it clean. Definitely wanted the win, get the three extra points to catch John a little bit, but I just had nothing for Calvin on those 2 tires.
Yeah, you were definitely my pick tonight, so, I can only pick you 3 times in the season, and I figured I'd throw that 3rd one in tonight just to see what you could do. Second place, man, I'm happy with that. And, hey, man, I think you definitely made up some ground on Furshing, but I'm not sure where he finished. I know my standings have kind of messed up a little bit, so I'll have to see, but you should have made up a little bit of ground there. I know he got loose and lost a couple positions late in the race, so we'll have to get those points updated and see where you stand.
Yeah, most definitely. I know he hit the wall, so hopefully that was an incident point he got. And then he came in 5th, so there's 3 points on him right there. I don't know if he led any laps. I know I did, so hopefully that's another point there. So I really wanted to try to cut it down to single digits going into Homestead there, but if it's 12 or 13 points, anything can happen. He can have a bad race. I can lead the most laps and win the race, there next week or in 2 weeks from now. So it'll be good going to the end here.
Well, congratulations on second place, and I'm excited to see where you finish in the season. So we'll definitely see you at Homestead, man.
Most definitely. Thanks, Mike.
All right, Nelson Rivera finishing 3rd place. Let's see if we can get him down here for his post-race interview. Nelson, congratulations on 3rd place, man. It's good to see you with that podium finish tonight. tell us about your race.
Yeah, it was pretty much uneventful for the most part. Couldn't decide on what pit strategy to choose. Was confused by the way the car was handling, so every stop I went with 4, and that kind of hurt me in the end. I probably had a chance to win if I would have went with 2, like James and Calvin did. But happy with a top 3. It's been a few weeks since I've had a podium, so I'm pretty happy right now.
Yeah, you said it. Tires were a big deal tonight, and just so you know, Calvin actually took 4 tires. So even if you had have taken 2, James wasn't able to hold them off on 2 either. So Calvin took 4 on that end, and I think it gave him that little bit of extra handling, and he was able to pull out the win. But hey, man, you got to be happy with a 3rd place finish.
Absolutely, this will definitely help in the points. I don't know where I'm gonna fall in the points with one more race to go, but it's a good rebound from last week.
Jamie, got any comments, buddy?
Yeah, Nelson, it was real interesting there on the restarts. Those cars would get bunched up. We kind of seen some accordion effect going on out there, but not only on the restarts. I'm just curious what your thoughts are in regards to taking off. I'm not really sure where you start, more in the middle of the pack, I believe, or towards the front there, but how was it for you on those restarts?
Not bad. I didn't want to push it on a restart. I'm just going to pick a lane and, trying to avoid going 3 wide. Just stay, whichever lane I start in, just stay in that lane until it stretches out. Because, as you know from watching these races, you could take yourself out on a restart, and I had to think of the big picture all night long.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And you mentioned it already. We're headed to Homestead next week. You've got a great 3rd place finish this evening. What's your mindset going into next week? Final race.
Well, just basically do the same thing I did tonight. Hopefully, stay out of trouble. Get hopefully another podium would be nice. Not expecting too much, see where the cards fall. I also want to mention, I hate it for Keith Haney, who had a really fast car. He probably would have won this race, but he had problems there, so I hate it for him.
Awesome.
All
Well,
right.
congratulations on that 3rd place finish, man. We'll see you in Homestead.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, another one in the books, 1 to go. Let's take a quick look. Just a reminder, if you want more information on our league, you can check us out at www.navscar.com. All the information about our current season, as well as hopefully we'll have some information posted about next season real soon. Our league application as well. If you're interested in running with us, you can apply there. Next week, after the last week of the race, we'll start bringing people into the league, so we'll start emailing those applicants out. And don't forget, you can check out redlightleague.com. That's our sister league. They run Monday nights, and I believe they just started up or will be starting up a season here shortly. So go check them out. Any final thoughts there, buddy?
Not really. Like I said, excuse me. Like I said, I'm just excited to go into that final race of the season. I think the points are close enough to where we're going to see some guys be cautious, and then we're going to see some guys that are going for broke because they got nothing to lose. Because if they don't, they're definitely out. So I think it's going to make for some real interesting racing. Homestead is pretty racy in itself, but at the same time, there's plenty of track to get around there. So it just I think it's going to come down to who's got it dialed in the best.
For sure, and I'm excited to get all 3 of us back in the booth. Dustin will be back for that. We missed him here tonight, but it'll be good to call that last race of the season. So looking forward to it. And hey, to all our viewers and all our racers, man, have a good couple weeks with your families. Enjoy the holidays, and we'll see you in the new year.